They say technology makes our lives easier. For work, to learn, to travel, to communicate. But there are things that machines cannot yet do. Things as important as engaging, putting themselves in your shoes, having intuition, or making intelligent decisions. In an increasingly technological world, we need professionals who provide intelligent solutions based on their know-how. Because there are things that technology cannot yet do for you. The human tech.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today. Today is going to be, we consider the last webinar about Golden Visa. Everybody's running around and rushing with all paperwork and trying to do their best for making it on time. Let me introduce you here today. I have, from the south part of Spain, we have the privilege to have Michael Davies from Almeria. Hello, Michael. Good afternoon.
Hello, Ignacio. Hello, everyone.
How are you over there? You're okay?
Yeah, very good, very good. Yeah, just getting ready now for the build-up for Christmas.
Good. Now, on the other side, I have Rafael. Rafael is a financial advisor from Mapfre, Wealth Management International. Hello, Rafael.
Hello. Thank you for inviting me.
Okay, and we're waiting for Pedro. That probably is running late and he's not making, but I think he will join us now. Let's see what Lupe is saying. Right, is in the email soon. Okay, right. Today we're going to talk about Golden Visa, and we thought very important thing here, because I'm sure a lot of people already have their own paperwork, and they probably are ready to submit it. But I find it, Michael, very difficult now to buy property in Spain expressly, running around because of the due diligence, etc. So you pretty much need to have everything in place to really complete on time. Just, Michael, if you would like to say something, we're going to distribute the webinar talking a bit about property. If you would like just to mention how quickly can somebody now complete and try to do the due diligence and trying to have everything, or probably they already have a title deed. And then we'll talk about financial means that Rafael, I think, honestly, I think is the fastest thing to do if you have the financial means, okay? I'm going to pass it over to Michael to tell us a bit about property.
Thank you.
Michael Davies, over to you.
Thank you. Ignacio, can you just remind me of what's actually happened? Because I know that there's something new that's happened the last 2 weeks. Have they actually given a final date for it now?
Well, at the moment, yeah, that's a good question, Michael. There is not a final day, but the Congress has approved the situation of erasing, canceling Golden Visa. So he's going to the Senate. So now he's on the Senate. The Senate needs to make amendments to what the Congress has said. Obviously, the Senate is not going to make it very easy because it's a different party in the majority of it. It's going to go back to the Congress, and the Congress will finally do the last version and will give us 20 working days for the approval. I think, Michael, being just reasonable, I think from the 1st of January, we might not have it. But you never know. This is politics, and it is as simple as who knows. But my guess, Michael, is next year will be eliminated. I don't know if Rafael has any other updated news. Rafael? No.
Okay, right. So that's obviously the absolute latest, because I know that agreement in Congress, that was like they were debating it last week. So that's where we are. Okay, so basically my advice then will not change. As I say, I didn't know exactly what happened last week in Congress. So my advice will not change then. And basically, since the day that our Prime Minister, Ignacio, are you there? I've lost you. Are you there? Okay, I hope nothing's there somewhere. Okay, so since our Prime Minister told us all in a press conference that he was going to do away with the do away with the golden visa, what my advice to clients has been is if you've already got a property that makes you qualify, in other words, since 2013, you've made a purchase of more than €500,000, or you've made the investment in capital, etc., etc. Mr. Ramon will talk about now how much that is. We've only done the golden visas by investment in real estate. If you're already qualified, then I'd absolutely recommended let's do the insurance, get the other couple of documents together, and let's get it presented. So if we get it presented, you'll be fine. Now, for those that have been coming to us since that date and saying, Michael, I'm going to buy a property, basically just so that I can get the golden visa, we've always said, well, look, do it at your own risk because this could disappear anytime. And at the end of the day, I will not be able to apply to your golden visa until we've actually completed at the notary and presented the deed to the property register. So in other words, realistically, I wouldn't be able to have them in a position to put the request in for at least 2 or 3 months after they come into the office because they haven't purchased the property yet. So I always say to them, it's very risky. And in fact, there have been a couple of clients that have decided, hey, we want to go ahead anyway. If the worst comes to the worst, we don't get the golden visa, but we've still got the property and we'll enjoy it. And for those clients in particular, we've actually made them sign a little disclaimer for us saying that obviously if at any moment the golden visa can disappear. So now basically so the situation now is just one step worse because we're closer to the cancellation of the golden visa unless something happens. But so right now my recommendation would definitely be that if you do qualify, because you've done the main thing, which you've already got the investment, and any property purchased since 2013 could help you qualify, then I would definitely give it a try. Try and present it to put the request in, and you may still be able to get one. But of course, buying a property now just for that is just a bit too risky.
Michael, obviously, I mean, we're talking about the due diligence on property, but probably a lot of people already have a specific property. So the only opportunity I see here is that they already are in the process of completing very soon, which means this week or the following week, obviously before Christmas, and give it a try because what we're doing at the moment, we are just submitting, or we have this plan B, Michael, about submitting with all not the necessary requirements or documents because they still haven't arrived.
To get the request in. Yep.
Yes, you get the request in and then you wait. Obviously, you pray to arrive to have all these documents in place, but they will give you eventually 10 working days for you to fulfill the obligation.
That's a good formula because maybe if you get the request in, even though it's missing the document, they later give you 10 days. I think it's a gamble. It needs a disclaimer, I think, from the clients just to make sure. I mean, it's gone so crazy that about a month ago we had a client that came to us and said, will you do a double or nothing deal with me? So I said, what does that mean exactly? He said, well, he proposed and we did it in the end. And he said, well, because I don't think I'm going to get the golden visa, it'll probably disappear. Will you agree to do it for free for me? But if I get the golden visa, I'll pay you double. So we said yes and we won. So we're happy and the client's happy as well.
Well, that's a good one because we still think, I really still think we are on time to do it, But I agree with you. I mean, I wouldn't do it just with a guarantee because there are no guarantees. I did put the link here, Michael. We have a notice in our website, important notice, last update, which we just published for everybody to know the specifics of this situation. And I really think for those who already are in process of buying a property and ready to complete on the property, is worth trying because they're going to buy, Michael, anyway. They're going to buy anyway, and it's worth trying. Obviously, buying just because you're going to get the golden visa, probably, I think the financial investment is the fastest. I'm going to pass over now to Rafael, to tell us a little bit what he does and obviously how quick he could get a result for somebody following their instructions under a Spanish umbrella, because I guess probably these are another, even though it costs double, obviously it costs double, but you always could cash it in. So you have your investment in whatever fund that now Rafael could tell us a little bit about options, and they could always get that money back and obviously see whether they made a profit eventually or not. Over to you, Rafael.
Thank you very much. Okay, I agreeing with you right now with the little time we have left in case nothing changes. The obtaining the golden visa through a financial investment is quite quick. Okay, we are managing to do it our part, which is opening the account, buying, receiving the money, buying the funds, and issuing the certificate in about 8 working days. Okay.
8 working days.
8 working days. We are now with one of your clients in process. He opened the account last Monday. We received the funds this Monday, and okay. You will probably have all the certificates tomorrow.
Right. So
okay.
that's quite fast, actually. Yeah. That's quite fast.
Yeah.
Right. And could you tell us a little bit more, Rafael, about, okay, for those who've got this possibility about investment, and obviously we're talking about 8 working days, what do you normally require, and what is the products they could really look into it to choose?
Okay, we have some constraints about the products because they have to be funds that are registered in Spain. Okay, since many funds have settled in Luxembourg for having the UCITS, which is the passport for a fund to be sellable and marketable all over Europe, all over the European Union. Okay, so we'll have to choose between around 700 Spanish funds, and with those 700 funds, we will have to seek for the ideal option for the customer. You know. We are right now using funds that moderate risk funds, since we are going to invest for at least a 3-year period. So we are trying to choose something that fits the risk profile of the client and the timeline we have in front of us, right? So,
but Rafael, just sorry to interrupt. So yeah. Basically, let's say I'm somebody who've got this possibility and I want to do it. Probably you do an appointment with them. And how many options they have? Could they give you a lot of instructions, or they are limited on? Well, I understand that it's Spanish bond is an umbrella, and that umbrella, could that have international investments under
yes,
that umbrella?
For sure. The requirement is that the fund is registered in Spain, but it can invest wherever in the world. Actually, what we are using the most is a global fund with flexible allocation. That you can choose between 4 risk profiles, whichever fits best your investment profile. And with that, we have a lot of flexibility. They can they have exposure to United States, to UK, to Eurozone, to Asia, but this is a matter of having a little talk with the client to see what they already have, if they want something that complements their investments in their country of origin, or if they want to diversify, or if they want to have more or less risk, right?
Right. So they could really choose.
Yeah, they could really choose between a wide variety of investments. Not as wide as the whole investment universe we manage in our wealth management brand, but with the 700 funds we have to choose from, I think we can still fit everyone's needs.
So what you were saying is we only have 700.
Yeah, around 780 funds.
780 funds in Spain, which that means is an umbrella, so it's a Spanish portfolio basically, and the client could choose the investment, correct?
That's it.
According to his profile. Yeah,
that's it. Most of those funds are the funds that the banking companies, the banks have, right? Some are from investment institutions, and some of them are from insurance companies, right?
Right.
But
and you are able to advise because I understand you work for Mapfre Wealth Management, but
That's
you
it.
are an independent financial advisor, correct? So
That's it. I
could
work
you
under
explain to
that
us that?
umbrella. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Mostly, well, the private banking in Spain has evolved through these last years from people that was hired from the companies to independent advisors that work under the umbrella of the company, right?
Right.
So we
Right.
advise the products of our own company with the whole universe of products available in Spain.
Right. So that makes it attractive. Yeah.
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 So
Right.
when we are talking about getting the golden visa, our advisory is limited to this universe of 780 funds, right? And with those
Right.
ones, we will have to fit the client's needs and expectations and everything. Once we are out of these golden visa requirements, we have a full investment advisory service like the ones you are used to in UK or USA or whatever.
Right.
In fact,
Right.
my certification is from UK, so I can advise in Spain and in UK.
Oh, that's
Well,
very good.
throughout all the European Union and UK. And about
Right.
the things we need to do this process, well, we'll have to have the ID of the client. We'll need a NIE, the NIE, which is the
Yeah.
foreign identification number here in Spain for foreign customers. And
Right.
then an account certificate of a bank account in the European Union, mostly in Spain. But if you have a Malta or you have an Italy, France, or whatever account, it also serves us, right?
Right.
And then in the case of UK, we also ask for the NUN, the National Insurance Number, the NIN, National Insurance Number.
The TIN number.
Yeah, the TIN number. Yeah.
TIN number. Yeah, for the UK, the national insurance number. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
it. And with all those four things, we open the account in 24 hours. We are ready to receive the money and then make the purchases and issue the certificates.
So you will be able, Rafael, you will be able to issue that certificate within 8, you said natural days or working days?
I said 88 working days for the whole thing. Since we make a first contact, we agree to do
Oh, I see.
account opening, receive all the documents. I open the account, you sign the account through third-party secure signature service. And then it's just receiving the money, which usually takes 24 to 48 hours from United Kingdom or 24 hours from another European country. And then buying is another couple days, and then issuing the certificate the day that everything is settled on the account. So
right.
we're managing to do it in about 8 working days.
Right. And the way to do it, so the contract the client needs to sign, if they decide to choose different in the different funds, so that the one that they are happy with and you're happy, the contract normally is with your company, correct? So the company creates the umbrella, and then the contract the client signs is with you guys. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Right. Understood.
And we are a company that can issue those certificates to the competent authorities, and also we are looking and choosing between funds that qualify for this golden visa.
Right. Obviously, you're just talking about golden visa. Now, Pedro is on the screen here. He managed to make it on time. Hello, Pedro.
Hola, hello everyone. Apologize,
right, Pedro,
for a little bit late. I just entry on some. Was finishing another appointment and I couldn't come to the office rapidly.
That's fine. No problems. We know you're busy. Listen, we're talking about the golden visa. Probably this will be the last webinar before the end of the year, and everybody is rushing. Could you please, Pedro, give us a little bit of update from a golden visa situation? Michael managed to speak about property. Rafael about investments only that qualify for the golden visa. Obviously, probably there are many more. Rafael, I think you mentioned that there are thousands, isn't it? Or I don't know.
We manage 40,000 different funds from all different managing companies. You have all the important UK and US managing companies available.
And Rafa, you could always liaise with the financial advisor from the client. So if the client have their own financial advisor, you could just make proposal and even do video conference if necessary. So everything goes tied in. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, good. Pedro, we were talking about this, and will you tell us a little bit more about Golden Visa,
Okay.
because you've been handling with a lot of them.
Okay, well, let's just, I mean, obviously, during, I say this year, it's been announced that the government was going to eliminate it, and I think at the beginning of the year, and then what happened something in April that announced it formally or officially. And then finally, I would say at the beginning of November, it was included some amendments, which means that it's going to be eliminated. Golden Visa, all the articles of the Golden Visa. Golden Visa starting with an act from 2013, and it was articles from 63 to 67 of that specific act. And now the new law that is still going to entry in order to be valid and applied, and it eliminates all of them. And let me show you, and then we can read it literally in Spanish and obviously in English, in order to transmit to all the listeners about what kind of implications we may have on this. Okay. I don't know, you can see the web right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's our 200 pages or more, almost 300 pages of the law. But basically, it's the amendments or the elimination of the Golden Visa is really these paragraphs. That's this, and from here to here. And what it literally says, as I said, dejan sin contenido, artículos 63 to 67, it eliminates absolutely Golden Visa, visado por inversión, according to the Ley 14-2003, which means we'll stop. There isn't going to be any more to apply this kind of visa. Once these amendments, once this law it starts to be valid, which still has not, and we will get through on that later. So, and then it says, okay, well, what happens with those applications and submissions that has been done, and it's still in process, it's still on to be admitted, and well, the act is finally approved and binded. Well, it says aquellos inversores o familiares de inversores or those investors and family members of investors which before this valid date starts has submitted hubieran presentado el correspondiente will be able to receive the visa or the authorization to be resident according to the rule on when it was submitted. So perfect. So those applications that has been presented on time before the act is fully valid, and we will see that later. That will work. What happens with those ones that because it happens sometimes that applications and files are not completed. Imagine that you bring all the documents, but some of them are not clear, or some of them are not 100% well completed. It's not enough. Something is missed, or a translation is missed, or the apostille of the Hague Convention it doesn't appear, or the financial means is not clear, or maybe whatever says on the deed is not clear. Well, sometimes the immigration office, they give like a period of time, normally 10 days, in order to substantiate this. Well, that process is still going on. That process is valid. It will be given 10 days to substantiate the file. It will be obviously compulsory to do it in that time. And if it's done away, it will be given a visa or authorization to be resident in Spain, which means at the end, well, that's perfect. Those files that has been processed before the date of validation of this act will be okay and will be valid. Normally, if you do it in the Spanish consulate in your home country, it will be a visa for 1 year, and if you do it in Spain, where you are physically in Spain, electronically, then will be 3 years. Okay, and what after this 1 year? Well, he's been given that, and what happens after that? Those 3 years, or what happens with those ones that already got it? Because I mean, I'm now thinking about those ones who are in the process, or maybe be in the process in the following days. And what happens with those ones who already got it 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 9 years ago, I don't know. So, and then it says, and this paragraph means about that. Those ones that have been already given and valid on the date of whatever is entry, this position, this rule, will conservaran the validity during the time it has been given to you, which means, well, that's paragraph says, that's perfect. I have already 5 years authorization for residence. I did it for 3 years, and then 2 years, or maybe the beginning was 1 year plus 2, and then plus 5 before some amendments that was done a year ago, 2 years ago. Perfect. But what happens after that? Will I have the right to renew this investor visa? And this paragraph, it says, and I think it says clearly, it says, en el caso de presentarse solicitudes de renovación, in case that it will be applied, renewals of this visa, it will be processed or will be done, I don't know if the translation is good, in order to be, you give an answer, and we have to be given an answer accordingly to the rule when it was, given initially the authorization for residency, which makes sense. Makes sense that, okay, those ones who already got it will be able to renew it, and if you fulfill the requirements according to the renewal, once it was given to you, or the data was given to you, basically you will be able to renew. What are the requirements to, and though this is for the ones who already got it, what are the requirements to renew? Well, if you bought a property, if you made an investment on an investment fund or a bank deposit, or maybe you did it with shares of a company or a Spanish debt, whatever you did, one of the requirements is that you need to show that you maintain the investment. That's the word you need to maintain. You need to show and prove that you still are keeping an investment on according to those rules that was given to you and according to those criteria that was given to you. Well, I think, I mean, to me, it raises some questions that I have an answer, but obviously this is interpretations that I personally do on this. Because we always said, okay, on a renewal, you have to show that you maintain the investment, or you maintain, and let's say correctly, an investment, which means that, well, you got some properties as an investment or one property, but whenever you're going to renew, at that time, the investment is done in a different property, or the investment is done in a different product. For example, you had an investment in property, then during the process of you have the authorization of residency, then you sell the properties and you reinvest it, for example, in an investment fund because the property has increased the price, and then you've got some other money, and then you do it in an investment fund. Perfect. You don't want to reinvest it in property, or maybe you sell the property and then you reinvest in different properties. You have 5 properties, 5 apartments, and then you want to buy just one. Well, perfect. The criteria is that you maintain the investment, and if that criteria has been done during all these years, during all these 9 years, I assume that this criteria will keep as normally in order to get the renewal, even though you had one investment or other one. The key point is that you maintain an investment accordingly to the rules, and it says here, accordingly to the normativa vigente en la fecha de concesión de la autorización inicial, which means accordingly to the rules valid on the time that was given initially the authorization to be resident. Obviously, when I say authorization to be resident, I mean the golden visa implies that at the end you could live 1 day in Spain, or you could live 365 days. You get a golden visa or investment visa to entry back and forwards into Spain, maybe to be resident, maybe not, depending on the time of or the days that you stay in Spain, and obviously that will have some other implications on taxes in order to be tax resident or not. having a golden visa do not implies automatically that you will not be tax resident. If you live in Spain more than 183 days, then you will be tax resident. Okay, so this is, I think, if there is any question or something is not clear, Ignacio, Michael, or Rafa, please let me know. So, and then what happens with the date? Okay, and this is something that I still need to be a little bit more accurate, which still I have some doubts, I have to say. This is an act, and this is a, let's say, some little amendments in order to eliminate this, that is being introduced in a really big, let me show it, really big act and the Congress. So really, I mean, this is extraordinary, and it's extraordinarily important. So this amendment has been discussed, you've seen it, 2-3 paragraphs that, well, and when this is going to be valid, that is the following question that I will try to answer, which now that I will not be fully right, because I still have some doubts, but I will put you in a scenario in some way. It says, and this is well, obviously I studied that in order to understand it and obviously to explain to our clients. This law will be valid 3 months later, 3 months after it's published on the Boletín Oficial del Estado. It still has not been published in the Boletín Oficial del Estado. But, sorry, it's been published, but it still needs to be brought into the other, let's say, we have a Congress and then we have a Senate. The Senate right now, we understand that maybe will be some amendments, but maybe not. Maybe it's going to be approved, and maybe it's going to be, well, absolutely approved. It's been all the amendments we understand is being done in this law. So maybe this is the final version, and this is something that, well, it may incur in what is going to happen. So it says 3 months, 3 months from the beginning of November. Well, it says that. And then,
what date was, Pedro? What date was the beginning of November? Do you have it?
I think it's the 12th of November.
So the worst case scenario, you're thinking from that date, 3 months, or unless there are extensions, correct?
Yeah, it could, yeah. From when it's published on the Boletín Oficial, obviously the latest version. And then in the second paragraph, this is what is, and you see in the Google, it says a lot of people, that's from 20 days to 3 months. Okay, this is why it's saying that, everyone. Okay, 20 days, because here it says Título 1, Disposición Adicional Primera. This is very technical anyway, it's additional disposition first, and then rest of transitory disposition first to 5th, 7th to 8th, whatever, final, but it will be entering, it will be valid and entering in 20 days after the, from publishing. So, but in my opinion, this specific amendment and eliminations is not in this paragraph, it is in the first paragraph, which means it is 3 months. But it's an interpretation that I do. I wish I could tell you like a very specific or accurate answer. And but I still think that some people will have some time in order to review in case but this is my personal. Maybe someone would say no, it's 20 days. Well, perfect, and which I still has not seen it. Maybe in the following days or weeks I will see it. But if it's 20 days, obviously it's going to be very fast. It's going to be the following, well, not the following days, but very soon. And I understand will be happening very soon. One way or the other one, it will be in some days. Those ones who, as I obviously need to, well, I want to make an investment and obviously need to fulfill the requirements or the applications, criminal records, showing financial means, if there is a marriage certificate, because if someone is applying with family members or children with birth certificate. Because, and this is clear, and I don't know if I said, and I will stop sharing this because I know it's a little bit annoying. It says, aquellos inversores o familiares de inversores which means that those investors or family investors that before the date of validity made the application, perfect, which is, reading this, it means that if you are principal and you do it, and you give it, you get it. And then next year, mid next year, or anyone who has already got it, and then after this is valid and there is no possibility to apply anymore, thinks, oh, I'm going to apply to my family member, to my spouse, because I'm married right now with someone and I want to be attached on the golden visa. Or I want my children now because I didn't apply for the children, but now I want to apply for the children. In my opinion, and this is also, again, in my opinion, will not be able to do it. Will not be able to do it. Okay, it will be able to do it before this law ends, basically.
Right.
Okay, and I think for me it's enough to explain about. If that arises any question, I will be happy to share and answer any question. But at this time is, if you are gonna do it rapidly.
Yeah, that's good advice. Okay. Michael, do you have some questions before we get into questions?
I've got a question for Pedro about the golden visa application. Look, one of the ones that we did not long ago, because normally now, basically we've got it so clear what has to be done. We just tell them do it exactly this way, and then we know how it does work, and then there's some borderline cases. So this client came along, and there was two things that I wasn't convinced about 100%, and he didn't want to change them, so he just did it that way. And I said, I don't know what's going to happen. One of the ones is that the medical insurance, instead of him paying it all up front for the whole year, he'd organized it to pay it in installments monthly. And the second thing wrong with that he was a bit strange was it was an insurance company that I hadn't dealt with before. It was based in Brussels or something that theoretically operated in Spain. The trouble is that golden visa has been, you know how it is with the golden visa, sometimes you can't speak to anyone. So they turned it down on the basis that they were not happy with his medical coverage. They have not mentioned whether it's because of the method of payment, how he's paying for it, or whether it was because of the insurance company not being to their liking. So because I haven't been able to speak to anyone, I was just wondering, in your case, have you had anyone that's requested it? I'm trying to basically narrow it down to see whether the problem was one thing or the other, or both. Have you had anyone that's presented a golden visa with monthly installments instead of the whole year up front and it be granted, or have you never presented one that way, or are they always turned down? Do you know?
Well, that's a good question. I mean,
probably Carmen might say something. Yeah.
I know Carmen's the expert. I didn't see her there. So
those companies are abroad, but they say, we operate in Spain. All the insurance companies that they're obviously that will be admitted an insurance policy in order to to cover all the health, which is hospitalization and the no co-payment, which at the end is basically what is going to be covered by the public system. The end needs to be, briefly, it needs to be, we need to cover what should be done in the public system. And all the insurance companies, they obviously, they know specifically what to do and what kind of policy they need to do. But those, because we have clients that say, well, I have an insurance that covers in Spain. Well, one of the requirements is that insurance company needs to be inscribed as a company in Spain, if it's a branch or not, or wherever, it needs to be inscribed as insurance and work in the Spanish territory and licensed in the Spanish territory. Well, that's one thing. But the question that you say is, what about the payment? Unless is the policy is authorized, unless the policy is authorized by the company, and I assume is paid from now until the end of the year, from that year to wherever is the date from. I mean, imagine that is today from the 31st of December, from 1st of January to 27th of November. Some different installments or different payments. And once the policy is done, and once the policy and the company gives you the possibility, but the question you are doing is that what happens if you do not pay the insurance company, you cancel it, and you stay 1 year without the insurance? That's a good question.
Yeah, so I don't know. So in this case, regarding
payments, in our situation, in our experience, and what we do, and we have some deals with in this case with Mapfre, we work a lot, and is the full payment is done. payment is done.
Yeah. So the thing is, in our case, we always ask them to pay for the full year up front, and we always basically give them a list of 2 or 3. Mapfre is one of them, because when we do with Mapfre, we actually, we do it through yourselves, and it works perfectly. We know that. So the thing is, though, in this case, he says, I've got my own insurance. So he does his own insurance. The policy, I read it, and it did include all the coverage regarding no co-payments, hospital, etc. Then it did say on it that they were registered to operate in Spain. It says it on the certificate. I don't know if it's true or not, but it just says they're registered. And then regarding the payment, it just says that the certificate says that it's for the whole. Sorry, that the yearly cost is X, paid in monthly installments by direct debit. So that's what was brought to me, and I thought, well, I've never done one like this way, but I don't know. I couldn't find anywhere.
Well, we have been look at the chat. It is someone, John Benstead, is saying our application were approved. We have medical coverage, and with this last, which they paid monthly. Well, perfect.
Yep.
I remember some years ago we had because in
and Carmen is saying yes, it's possible. Carmen is just saying it's possible.
It's possible.
It is possible. What I sometimes might recommend as well, after 1 year being in the background, you could join the public system as well, and either do like 65 euros convenio especial, or just after 65 is 165. That's public health. Sometimes it's worth having the one you have in your home country because you like it, because your company paid for it, and you already have it, and you don't want to, and you're going to have it anyway, and then have the public. But that's only after 1 year, Michael. But Carmen is saying yes, but they could be difficult, Michael. She's saying here, they could be difficult, and it happened exactly the same to us.
The trouble is, as you've come across them before, you know how sometimes they just reply on the digital platform and they just say that they turn it down because they're not happy with the medical coverage, but they don't say what the reason is. We email them and nobody answers. So in the end, you don't know whether the solution is simply to go back to the insurance company and say, we'll pay for the whole year, or whether that insurance company is just not going to be valid.
Or a certificate. You know, Michael, probably a good option I would do in this case to avoid problems is to have a certificate that even though, and then we've done it, even though the installment have been, the payment is in installment, there is a certificate from the insurance company saying the policy is up to date on payments. Okay. Even though on the renewal of the Golden Visa, they might be able to say, please provide me proof that it's being paid. Well, if you have a certificate from the insurance company that is being paid, whether you have agreed to pay installment or not, that's a different story. That will be good enough. But Michael, probably the Golden Visa application is one thing, and the renewals, then in your case, will be in Marbella, or Almeria, will be in Alicante. So you need to speak to the policeman at the time, and then just give them guarantees that there is not risk of failing into the payment. So for me, the most efficient way is to the certificate from the company saying it's been paid. I mean,
the thing is, we always just recommend, bring us a certificate saying that it's been paid for, 1 year payment, and then that's it. It's just that in this particular case, we've got that situation. It's a bit borderline, and we don't really know what is wrong with it, whether it's one thing, the other. I know how to get it right. We simply go to Mapfre, we do a whole year insurance, and then I know how they issue the certificates correctly, and we're done. But the thing is, I've got the problem now with the client is, what do? Do I tell him to go and do a whole new insurance because that one's not good? I don't really know. I want to speak to him. It's It's just a non-user, not a user-friendly system.
Right. Yeah. Right. Let's go to the questions. I think we're having quite interesting questions. I have one for Rafael. Does the residency by investment scheme include money held in wrappers like pensions? Rafael.
Oh, I'm sorry to say no. We have only these Spanish mutual funds or Spanish public debt.
But the public debt, unfortunately, is not only 1 million; it's 2 million, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, unfortunately not.
And you are lending money to politicians, which many people might not be very happy with.
Right. And then we have another one here. For Golden Visa holders, if they sell their properties, I think Pedro covered that. Do they keep the right to buy another property, Pedro, and keep the privilege of the Golden Visa? I think you did cover already the possibility of transferring the funds into a different investment fund, or just transferring the property into a different investment.
I cover that. I mean, if I mean until now, and it was it says literally the rule says maintain the investment, and then the criteria has been okay. It doesn't have to be keeping that specific property. My interpretation is that it's going to be the same. It does not mean that maybe they change the criteria and then we need to fight against it in the courts. But sell the property and what it needs to be is you cannot imagine that you need to renew for 5 years time the authorization as of investor visa, and after you renew it, it's been given to you another 5 years, for example, and after you renew it, you sell the property, and then this is the extreme example, and then before you renew again after 5 years, you buy a property again for 500,000 euros, then will be absolutely rejected. When this is not maintaining an investment. Maintaining an investment, it means that you sell and rapidly buy another property. Either you sell and you buy some other properties, or you sell and you invest the money in an investment fund rapidly. What is rapid? Well, it's a sense of common, something that once you acquire the money, you do it. Your actions that because we checked the actions that you're doing in order to see if you really maintain the investment. It's a subjective criteria, but you need to show that your intention was always to maintain, even though you change. Imagine that, as example, you sell a property, €1 million, and then you rapidly, once you get the money, previously you have already give instructions to some company in order to make the investment. That's perfect. Okay, and once you get it, you make the investment. Or once you sell the properties because you want to buy another one, and you have looked at that, and you are saying, I mean, yes, to prove the actions that you're doing that. If you just because selling the properties, you do not keep the right to buy it and to get to renew it. You have to maintain, but the actions that you do during that process needs to be in a rapid way, I would say.
Okay, going back to investment here, I have a question for Rafael. Right. What about, Rafael, bank deposit? Is that possible? Are you able to help?
Yeah, those qualify also for the golden visa. It's 1 million euros also. In this case, you are limited to the yield that the bank is willing to pay for a bank deposit, which right now it's roughly under 2%. So it doesn't even cover inflation.
Right, but that's another option, correct?
But that's another option, and it's a fast one also.
It's a fast one, okay. And but you, as a financial advisor, you cannot deal with this. Is that correct? Or you could?
I could.
Oh, you could still
do it. Yeah,
you could still help. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Right, we have a good one here. Pedro, I already have one property in Spain for the value of 400. I'm not sure whether it's in joint names or one name. He doesn't mention. And I have another in a few weeks to finalize for 400 in a few weeks. If one is in my name and one is in my wife, does that qualify as we have joint assets of 800? Or does one person need to have both properties so that one person has more than 500? This is a good one, Pedro. Over to you.
Yes. We have been talking about this a lot of time. Obviously, it's going to depend. Well, thank you for the question. It's going to depend, obviously, of your marriage agreement. If you bought the property, I think it was, you said, Ignacio, 400,000 euros at the beginning.
Yeah, the first one, Dan, is signed here. It is in his name. The second one is still, they're probably about to complete soon. So they need to make decisions.
I can see the question. It's 400,000 euros, yeah. And obviously, if that property, the first property that you bought, if you did it like a private asset, and then the other one is bought by your wife as a private asset, even though you are married, no one of you will be able to will have the right to apply for golden visa. Neither of you have an investment of minimum 500,000 euros. But if you did it in a way that even though you bought it is part of a community of marriage, and Michael can translate this better than me. a marriage community. I mean, this is, even though you bought it in your name, is part of a community of your marriage. Perfect. And then the other property is bought by your wife under the marriage agreement, which means in that agreement or law, which means that in your economy, in your situation, that property, even though it's in the name of your wife, is really part of both. That's perfect. In Spain, we have basically 3 systems, and but 2 of them are very simple. One of them is each spouse has separated assets. It's private and fully private during the marriage, and whenever they divorce, it's always also separated, in briefly and summarized in general. And jointly, when it's it's like an agreement or a bylaw, depending on the region, when you buy, acquire, and there are some other issues or income, but let's say buy, acquire, in this case a property, but even though you put it in your name, it's really part of a marriage. In that case, if it was bought privately by him and then his wife also buys this property privately, will not be able to be done. So in that case, if they have a private, let's say, agreement or by law, I'm not sure what country or where he was married and what law is applied to marriage, but obviously in that case, maybe if in a few weeks it's going to be bought, well, maybe why not do it in the name that the one who bought at the beginning? So it will be 800,000 euros, will be more than 500, will be a principal application, and family members will be the wife. What if wife do not want this because she wants also to have something in her name, or maybe the investment obviously is being done by her in the case. We've done it many times, but obviously I don't think they will have time in order to do this, because they need to change the marriage agreement to a community of, let's say, community of, or joint community, or your community of
owners, yeah.
To change that, it takes time, and it needs to be inscribed in a civil registry in Madrid. It takes some months, and obviously bring the properties into the marriage, and we've done that successfully. But I personally think it's going to be difficult to be on time on that.
But I think Pedro, I think it's worth looking into the title deed to make sure, because they still haven't completed on the 2nd.
Yeah.
So they still have the time, because they have 400,000 euros still.
To change that, I mean, before it's bought, to change the marriage situation, saying that, but the first one it's 400,000 euros.
You wanted to say something?
Let me, can I just quickly jump in there? Because I mean, these people, let's say they're married in separation of assets. The solution is really simple. All they have to do is on that second purchase, put it in joint names, and then it puts him over the threshold, and then she can get a golden visa as a dependent. And then that will be the solution for this case. But in any case, regarding the separation of community of assets, community of goods, people get very confused. So I'll just try and sort of, because we've had so many clients over the years asking about this, I sort of know what it is that confuses them, and Pedro's explained the theory to perfection. But so that people understand, there's 3 systems: separation of assets, community of assets, and what's called a mixed system. Theoretically, the theory in reality is that in the UK, what they really have is a mixed system. But in Spain, to simplify, when English people buy a property, we always state on the title deed, separation of assets. So basically, if you're English, Australian, Canadian, almost for certain, when you purchase, the notary is going to state separation of assets, in which case, you need over $1 million if you buy in joint names. If you're from the US, depending on the state from the US where you actually live or where you were married, you'll either be in community of assets or separation of assets. And then in some where there's community of assets, you may have signed a prenuptial agreement. But basically, if these people, obviously they're writing in English, so they're probably either English, Australian, Canadian. If they're English, almost for certain on the title deed, it will say separation of assets. So the only solution is to buy the next one in joint names.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, I think it's saying that it's part of a marriage asset. So in that case, it's going to be, in this case, simple. Yeah, it could be bought by her, also marriage assets, or as you said, Michael, correctly, just to buy both together. So will be for him will be another 200,000 euros or maybe 100,000 euros investment. So we'll cover the 500,000 euros. Yeah,
I mean, at
that's
the end,
right.
at the
It
end,
looks
I
like,
mean,
it
at
looks
the
like it's
end
a
of the,
marriage assets.
I mean, at the end of at the end of the day, in a situation like this, we'd probably go along the lines of buying that second property in the joint names, and let one spouse, if they've got
That's
their own,
right.
it's
That's
got
right.
their in the UK, they can compensate with something else in the
Exactly.
UK, so that
Exactly.
their wealth, the sharing of their own wealth between them still
Yeah.
works out.
I think, Danny, you will have a solution, but obviously do it rapid.
Yeah, I
And
mean, it could
actually,
even. I mean, you could even,
Michael, yeah.
you know, one of them organize a mortgage on an English property in favor of the other. There'll be ways of sorting that one
Yeah.
out. It was very important for them.
Yeah, I agree. Danny's still on time to do it properly and make it on time. So that's good. But if you want us to just check the specific, Danny, just send us an email and we'll just advise them quarterly. We have another one that Jose is buying a property through Villa Lux next 2 months and looking to get a golden visa. Well, the first advice for say I would say is I wouldn't wait. I mean, if possible, I wouldn't complete in 2 months' time because everything is up in the air. So I wonder whether you could bring the due diligence and everything before 2 months to protect your obviously application. I find it a bit too much. 2 months. We don't know how long it's going to take. Okay. So my first advice here to people is do it as quick as possible. Don't leave it for too late. Even though we don't have all the paperwork, it's worth submitting and then providing extra paperwork, but always with the guidance of somebody who's got the knowledge. Right, then we have
another question,
I think the last one, yeah. Well, we've got another one here from Christina. They're buying a property for 500K under his name. They live in the UK, marry in New York. Is that okay for the golden visa?
Yeah, that's
he buys under his name for 500 and applies for me as a dependent. Pedro, will you say?
Yeah, the answer is yes. I mean, if he buys in his name or he buys in the name of a marriage, it doesn't. I mean, it will cover. It will be covered for him to apply as a principal and for her as a family member.
But again, Christina and everyone, I really think I wouldn't hesitate lodging it as soon as possible, you know, because unfortunately it all depends on politics and is not even worth it wasting time. So my recommendation is to do it as soon as possible, because as we were talking at the beginning, buying a property, then you need to do the due diligence. Then we need at least the title deed certified true copy, and it needs to be sent to the registry, to the land registry, and all these are going to take time. So definitely my advice will be to submitting and then start buying time. Okay, again, it's better safe than sorry. Going back to Rafael. Rafael, do you want to add anything we miss on the advice you could provide to these people running around with the time deadline?
Oh, well, just to, I would just say that we give a full advisory service for investments. And when we talk to Golden Visa, and with this little short time we have left, it's something very straightforward and very constrained to some options. But for anyone that is not applying for a Golden Visa and wants to manage his money in Spain, we give a full service like they are used to have in UK or any other country. And
Right.
just in the case of Golden Visa, we are very focused on what serves us to do it properly and easily. Right,
that's good. Michael, will you say something else to people here? Your last advice here before it's part of history, the Golden Visa.
No, not much to say really.
Hurry up.
Just if you've already made the investment since 2013 until now, and you've got everything ready, it's probably worth rushing to try and get the Golden Visa, because it is a very good, it's the best visa deal really that there is. if you've got a property in the pipeline, as Pedro and Ignacio have said, definitely rush towards the completion and if possible, get the application in, probably even if it's not perfect, and then hope that when they request they give you, they'll call you into those extra documents, and it gives maybe wins a bit of time. I think that's good advice.
Okay, Michael, Rafael, could you please put your email there just in case they want to go direct and make you a few questions? And Pedro, could you please as well mention your email and say anything else you would like to add?
But we say, I mean, we are in a rush time. I mean, it's something that if you are not in the process of buying a property and to do it rapidly, then maybe an investment, obviously in case that you are able to make an investment of minimum is 1 million euros. Which I understand it could be done properly, but obviously you still need to get a criminal record, you still need to get a health insurance, which may be easier. And well, there are some issues that needs to be done rapidly, unless you can be done rapidly. And investment can be done rapidly. Buying properties normally takes some weeks, or well, some villas even months. But maybe an investment is really rapid. It's just I don't know, 1 week. I don't know if you can say how much time Rafael will take to make the investment, but maybe between 1 and 2 weeks. Is that right?
Yeah, we're managing to do it in 8 working days.
8 working days,
more or less.
So that will be a case also to do it rapidly, to get authorization, to get it right, to get a visa, and during the process of the investment, maybe obviously taking care of the investment that you've done and obviously the penalties. Maybe in the future you want to buy a property, well, maybe after a year, after 2 years, or after 3 years is sell and buy property or whatever. I mean, it's if your intention is to buy properties. If not, do it as an investment and perfect, get it and enjoy obviously the golden visa in order to come and forwards into Spain.
I know it's probably this is, but I'm just trying to say here things like like very last minute. Actually, for those who, I mean, first of all, they need to have the funds, but if they're not able to make it because completion, they're saying, I'm going to buy property, but it's not going to really make it on time. If you have the investment as well, as Pedro said, these golden visa is very good because it makes it very attractive from a tax point of view or non-resident tax point of view. You could work, you could retire, there is not limit of days. So probably another option will be, as you said, just do it. If you need to do it rapidly to guarantee the first year, probably do it with an investment if you are not able to do, because if you're already up and running with the notary appointment, then probably it's worth it, because here, like I think Christina is saying, and somebody here as well, I think it was Danny, it was Christina, it was some people saying they're going to complete very quick. So if they're going to complete very quick, let's use it. But if you don't think you're going to make it on time and you have that investment, it might be worth it to do 1 million euros and then later on just convert it, as it was discussed, into property, because you could always alter that investment all throughout this process, because the acquired rights are protected with this law, which is good news for our clients, Pedro and Michael. And it is good for the people who are going to make it on time, which hopefully they still have some time to get the criminal records. But I always recommend you just try your best. If you're committed to it, do it. And then obviously you will not have a guarantee, but you could provide paperwork, hopefully within the time given of the golden visa. Okay, well, I think this was very good. I hope it was clear. Feel free to send emails to any of us in the future. Rafael, you wanted to say something?
I just wanted to add a little thing about what you were saying. If you plan to be buying a property, but you wanted to rush with the investment right now, what we can manage to do is also arrange a credit against your investment. So you can bring 1 million, make the investment, try the golden visa, and then after that we can make a credit facility out of that investment. So maybe from a 1 million investment, you can get 600 to 800,000 euros to your disposal as a credit and buy your property and then refund it as you want.
Good advice. Good advice. Okay, guys, we're ready to go. Thank you very much for your patience, your time. Thank you, Michael, Pedro, Rafa, and obviously your clients. Hurry up! Don't hesitate to lodge it. Hopefully, you'll get it for 5 years. I'm going to pass over to Juanfran, and then hopefully we'll see you soon here in Spain. Thank you. Over to you, Juanfran.
Thank you.
You're new to Spain and in need of legal help. When you are in a country that is foreign to you, you want someone who speaks your language, who understands you, and who will have an answer to all immigration and nationality matters. At Pellicer and Heredia, you can count on a specialist in international law and a multidisciplinary team that can help you handle all the necessary formalities. Do you want to take advantage of the Golden Visa program? We will help you obtain the residence visa for investors through the purchase of a property or via a business project that you're looking to develop in Spain. Do you need a residence permit? Obtain it for non-profit purposes or through family, work, study, research and training purposes. If, on the other hand, what you are looking for is a renewal, we take care of the whole process, so all you need to do is leave your fingerprint. We also deal with re-entry permits in the case that you want to leave and return to Spain. And of course, we help you obtain the certificate of registration as a European citizen, the foreigner's identity number, Spanish citizenship, and the certified translation of documents in all languages. Because at Pellicer and Heredia, we know that speaking your language is the only way to gain your confidence. Trust that we repay with 2 words: professionalism and commitment. Pellicer and Heredia, international lawyers.